Yeah, my Travel Wins podcast tonight. I'm lucky to have Ryron Gracie. How are you tonight, Ryron?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you, Pete.
Appreciate it. How's everything going for you?
It's going great. Staying busy. Jiu-jitsu. The jiu-jitsu calls, so I go wherever it calls.
Well, and now you have the added fun of having a family.
Yes, 2 kids that get to enjoy the benefits of this art.
Exactly. And a wife, so...
Yes, the wife enjoys it a lot. Yeah, she comes from a touring, traveling job of performing and dancing, so she gets her fix of that now through jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, exactly. And the traveling family, it's probably good that she kind of knew about the traveling part.
Very good traveler, yes.
Yeah. So for people that don't know, you're part of the Gracie family, and the first time I remember seeing you was, I don't know if it was UFC 1 or 3, when you were walking out in the train.
Yeah, so as a little kid, my uncle fought in the UFC, and maybe I was like, I think it was UFC 2, maybe 12, 13 years old. There was about 7 or 8 people that were in my uncle's corner, and as a 12-year-old, I kind of led this straight line, we called it a train, out to the octagon. So
when you started, you're probably in your early 20s when you got your black belt, maybe late teens?
21, yeah.
Yeah, okay. When you started traveling, because you were doing seminars even back then, traveling seminars, maybe not as many as you are now, but how big of a difference is it traveling now that you have 2 kids, a wife, and more responsibilities, and you still want to, you still have all your academies around the world?
So our headquarters is in Torrance, California, which is where I live also, so it's great. And then we have, 140 schools, let's just say, around the country. I'm sorry, around the whole world.
The world, yeah.
The world. And these schools are, they're running our programs, and it's kind of our responsibility to some degree to go visit them and go see those schools and give them our energy and, just make sure that they understand exactly what we're representing and what we're preaching, what we're teaching, right? Mm-hmm. The way it's an art of self-defense. It relies on efficiency and leverage and timing, and them hearing me speak on these topics, it really kind of boosts them and gives them a little bit of like I said, it's a boost. So now when I step away, now they're extra motivated to kind of spread that Gracie Jiu Jitsu / my grandfather Eddie Gracie's principles to all of their students, which is what people want, or people are looking for. So in terms of me traveling, it's always been about spreading that which my grandfather and my father and some of my uncles have taught me. Jiu-jitsu is an art of self-defense. And so traveling, when I was 22 years old, I was thinking about a trip the other day to Indiana that I traveled to when I was very young. I don't know what age. I would say I was probably 20 years old, 19. And I didn't have a credit card, I don't think, until about that time. And my dad gave me a credit card. And I'm like, what's this for? And he said, this is so you can pay for expenses, like your hotel and,
food.
I remember food. I remember going to a rental car place, and they didn't let you rent a car because I wasn't over 25 years old. I think 25. Yeah. Very few companies will rent to a 20-year-old. So things like that were kind of fun for me I just, thinking about those since talking to you about this traveling life that I live. But so I enjoyed traveling. I always miss my bed and my comforts of my food at home, but I feel very at home with people wherever I go. So because they do jiu-jitsu, because we have a common language, I don't ever feel like I'm alone. So I have friends everywhere thanks to jiu-jitsu. And if you know anything about jiu-jitsu, it's a connecting art to where you train with somebody for like an hour or 3 hours, and before you know it, the person's your best man at your wedding. Become very close very fast. So I'm grateful for that. And now traveling I would say I would have no problem traveling longer and in no hurry to get home. Now I travel with my family probably 70% of the time, 60% of the time. And if I'm not with my family, I want to come home faster. So I'm doing shorter trips. I'm flying home on a red eye so I can be home in the morning versus coming the next day.
Yep.
And when I'm with my family, I'm making a point to even add a day or 2 or 3 to my trip. And, for example, I'm going to the UK coming up in a month. So let me go 4 days early and go hang out in Scotland.
Right.
And just, see certain parts of Scotland with my family, because the Gracie family's from there, has some history, but just to give them that experience. So I make it, not only is it a business trip, but it's 3-4 days of me getting to see the world. And I'm especially a fan of, like, hiking or beautiful parks or nature, national parks, more so than monuments and museums, which my wife loves. So we find the happy balance, and I hit
exactly.
I hit a museum here or there, or some historical buildings.
That's awesome, because I do the same thing now, and when I'm traveling around, I had a friend on Facebook say, "Are you always on vacation?" Because when I travel, I go to parks. I'll go to the national park or a state park, or and so I take pictures of that, and I go, well, I can take pictures of my work if you want, but I'll take an extra 2-hour round trip.
Yes.
Just to find something.
Drive somewhere.
Yeah.
There's so much to drive. Everywhere you go, there's something to see.
Literally.
Everywhere.
Yep.
And there's just something cool. It doesn't matter. I was just in Orlando, and they have, like, manatees in Orlando, and North Carolina, the parks for my kids are, like, out of this world. My kids love the tree houses that we're playing in. Like, it's just so random. Like Chapel Hill, I love the city, Chapel Hill. I mean, I love finding, like, the food in the city. Sometimes foods that I am comfortable with, and sometimes things that are popular in that town that are, of course, on the healthier side of things.
Yeah. Not on the Gracie diet.
Yeah, if it's not too healthy, then that's not true. If it's not healthy, I don't eat it. But they have some good stuff out there. The fruits in the Philippines.
Yeah.
The mangoes in the Philippines that I was eating like 3 months ago. My gosh, I got like 7 mangoes just by the pool.
That's crazy. And
candy.
That's what when it's mango season, I think it's like March or April there, and they just go crazy with the mangoes.
Yeah, it's the best ever. So,
what's the best place you've ever traveled for? For work, what's the best place you've traveled to?
I like, I've been to Jamaica for work. I've been to the Cayman Islands for work. I've been to, all over Florida, Hawaii. I love the beach.
Brazil.
I love Costa Rica. I love Brazil. I love the beach and the sand and the ocean and the salt and the jungle. I love Costa Rica, right? But now, so speaking of, those are all those. I've been to, like, Fiji. I'm going to the Maldives this year, in Thailand. So I already know I'm going to love all those. I love Australia. I love Sydney. So those were all great. But now, just like, I love North Carolina, for example. I was just there. In terms of states, in the U.S., North Carolina is very cool. I love Vancouver. I can't even say I have my favorite one. There's no.
I know.
But, I have friends of mine. I've been to Utah. I was just in Utah. I love Utah, Zion National Park.
Zion's beautiful.
And the people in Utah, the guys in Utah, like, so there it is. My friend in Utah who has a school in Utah, like, an amazing person, you know what I mean, to hang out with. It's just energy. The energy of the people is probably half the reason why I love the place. And then, of course, I love amazing weather. I don't like mosquitoes. I don't mind. I don't mind really humid. Really humid, I have no problem with very hot, very humid. I don't really like snow. At least not for that long. So I'm not a big fan of Canada. I'm going to Canada coming up pretty soon, but it's not going to be too cold. I love New York.
Summertime.
I was just in upstate New York. I was in Jupiter, Florida. Like, Jupiter is beautiful. I was on the beach, stand up paddling in the harbor, So you can't even answer that question, bro.
I hear you. And people ask me, I've been to like 39 states now, and everyone's like, "Oh, where would you want to live?" And this, and I'm like, "Well, I like Oregon. I like parts of Washington."
Yeah, you're right. Oregon, North Carolina, in Washington. Seattle is great. Outskirts of Seattle. I did a hotel in Seattle somewhere. I forgot. Hotel right near a waterfall. Beautiful waterfall. Hotel overlooking the waterfall in Seattle. I forgot the town, but amazing hotel. I want to go to. I've been to Niagara Falls. I love Niagara Falls. So powerful, like, blew my mind. I got to Niagara Falls, and I thought it was going to be, like, cool. But, like, it was out of this world. In terms of how much water, how powerful it was, it blew my mind.
See, I think the same way. When I see waterfalls, or something that parts of the ocean where it's eroded the rocks, and I go, that's been doing that for millions of years.
Yes.
Millions. Like, I mean, if I'm lucky, I'm blessed to get 100 years on this earth.
Yes.
What
can we see?
Yeah. You look at a tree like in Sequoia, and you think of what it's seen over the thousands of years that it's been on the earth.
You're right. I want to start making a list everywhere I traveled now that I'm talking to you.
Exactly.
Cape Town, South Africa. Cape Town, beautiful beach. It's called Boulder Beach in Cape Town. You stay on the beach, penguin reserve, hundreds and hundreds of penguins that are like
crazy.
a foot tall, and they're like 4 feet from you. My kids are looking at penguins. We walk across the street from our hotel. Walk across the street. It's like a 1-minute walk. Hundreds of penguins in the morning, first thing in the morning. They didn't even know what to do with themselves. After the second day, they saw a penguin, they looked away. They didn't even care about the penguin. If you saw a penguin here in L.A.,
you'd freak.
You would pass out. Like, what a penguin here? You go crazy. You'd be all over the news. There's thousands. There's hundreds of penguins.
And the kids just go, eh.
Correct. Well, they're excited about, Mom, it's a penguin. But then they realize that penguins live here. Oh, that makes sense.
Part of the world.
We're in the Philippines, and there was lizards. There was water monitors that were like 6 feet long. The first time I saw it, they were like, oh, my gosh, it's a dinosaur. Imagine if you saw a 6-foot monitor on the beach. Yeah. Same thing. You call the police.
And then some.
There's a 6-foot, and then you try to attack it with your broom probably or run from it. The 6-foot monitor is just laying out in the Philippines on this island, like 4 feet from us. I want to go to the Galapagos.
Yeah.
Talk about where I've been is one thing, but where I want to go. So I want to go to Galapagos.
Well, that was my next question, because you've gone to so many places. What's left?
I want to go to the Galapagos Islands. I want to go to Thailand, which I'm already going this year in December. And I want to go to Bora Bora. I want to go to Greece. I love Spain. I love Barcelona, all parts of Spain. Germany is amazing. Food in Germany, crazy. I went to Jiu Jitsu in Germany. Yeah, I really like Germany. England, I go to England every year. So it's nonstop.
Well, I was going to ask you, when you're traveling to all these places, and there is the Gracie diet. That wasn't a joke. I mean, you guys definitely tried. I still remember the things you told me 10 years ago about diet. So how hard is it when you're out traveling to stay healthy and eat clean?
You'd be surprised that other countries actually eat probably better than America.
I've heard. I agree.
Right? You go to these other countries, like the fruit in Germany, for example, or in Spain, the food in Spain, in Barcelona. It's like an amazing food. Like the markets, like you walk in the farmer's market, and Airbnb or even a hotel, if it has like a little fridge, when you walk to the farmer's market, you pick up a bunch of fruits and vegetables. They don't even let you touch the fruits and vegetables. When I was in Spain, and I'm like, hey, I want that right there. Oh, no, they ask you, when do you want to eat it? I say, I'm going to eat it tomorrow, and then they give it to you. Or I want to eat it in 10 days. You see that? And they give you the really green avocados that aren't quite ripe yet. They take 10 days. So they know what they're messing with. They don't want you grabbing the fruits and abusing them or the vegetables. So I really was a fan of that, because around here, you catch an avocado over here at Whole Foods or at whatever. Yeah. It's all smashed up. People don't understand how to feel it carefully,
Yeah, I agree.
So in terms of food, I feel like it's not a problem at all. Maybe inside the United States, it gets a little bit tricky sometimes. Maybe like a lot of countries, maybe a little more in the South. A lot of grease,
more comfort foods.
A lot of meat. The salads are kind of weak. Not the best salads. It's like just iceberg lettuce and a tomato. It's not my favorite. I want vegetables. So, but you make it happen, and you bring your own avocado. On the airplane. Who knows?
Well, I always tell people, it's like better is better. So when you go out, and if you could, eating a bad salad is still better than eating a bad hamburger or a real fried food or something. So better. But a good
hamburger is better than a bad salad.
Yes.
If you can get, if it's good meat, it's a good quality hamburger, because there's some good hamburgers and there are some not so good hamburgers.
Well, yeah, and I work in the country western industry now, and so I have cattle ranchers as clients, and I tell them, I go, look, it's not the wide open cattle ranches are making good meat still. It's the mass produced.
Yes.
With the hormones and antibiotics and all that they inject in them, that's bad for you. So it's all better is better, though.
So where do you want to travel to?
I want to do international. One thing I want to hit all 50 states. I've got a few more in the Northeast, and Alaska will probably end up. I think Alaska might end up being last just because it's remote. And then Canada. I've been to Canada, been to Mexico, but I'm like you. I want to go to Japan. I want to go to
Japan. Is so good.
New Zealand. My youngest daughter Allison just went to Japan. She said go there first.
Kyoto. I went to Kyoto, Japan. Beautiful town. So much history. I love it. Like walking in the streets for miles and miles. Kyoto is great. I love Korea, bro. Now that you just said Japan, Korea is one of my favorite places to go. Seoul, Korea.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I want to go. And you've traveled for fights. Is it different? How different is it when you're traveling as a trainer for a fighter versus going for a seminar?
I would say it's a little bit more work going for a seminar. Not a little more. It's probably more work because the fighter that you're going with, like for example, Ronda Rousey fought in Brazil. That was like the last time I've traveled like far, like with Ronda when she fought Betch Correa in Brazil. It was the last fight that she won. Amazing fight, a very fast fight. It was in Rio, and I went to Rio for like 16 days.
That's a long time.
And maybe 16, 17 days before her fight. Great time. She can't train, 5 hours a day. She trains a little bit in the morning, a little bit in the evening, getting acclimated. So there's a lot of time off to go to the beach and relax. Obviously, I was away from my wife and my 2 kids.
Yeah.
My daughter was just born like probably 5-7 months before that. So it wasn't the best. And I had moved 2 weeks before I traveled. So it was tough being away from them.
Yeah.
If I was going to be anywhere in the world, I would want to be in Rio on the beach away from my family, And not only that, but with Ronda Rousey, right? It was an honor to be able to be in her corner and helping her and doing jiu-jitsu with her and fighting with her. So
yeah, awesome.
I would have to say that, going for a fight, it has a little bit of like it's almost like a little more, because there's 4 or 5 people that are with the fighter, right? It could be a striking coach. For example, we were with Mike Dolce, who's like her nutritionist and, very experienced guy in helping her cut weight. So a lot of time our photographer or her friend Justin, who does a lot of judo, also very good. So a lot of time of us hanging out and kind of just bonding and talking. Very fun.
Yeah. Because I think the last I saw you the one time in Vegas. I was there for work, and you were there with Kevin Casey.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what kind of made me think. Because when you go for a seminar, you're the main attraction. You're the guest of honor.
Yes.
Whereas when you're training a fighter, that fighter is the
correct.
The head
but
chief.
In this world, though, the people that are in this world, the I want to say the fans, the spectators, they also know who her weight training coach is. They're also support, and they know that I do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
You don't have to look too far to find out that I've been doing jiu-jitsu my whole life. So even though I'm not the guest of honor, people are still very excited to meet us. Not as much, obviously, Ronda Rousey, different level, superstar times 100. So, but still, it's still very enjoyable for me to see people all around the world that are like, oh, jiu-jitsu, wow. Then they very much respect, especially when it comes to UFC and my father having created it. So it's nice to be in that energy. People show a lot of respect and appreciation to the Gracie family.
Yeah.
So very, very fun experiences.
Well, even the UFC people, I would think, still treat you well.
The actual company?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, they treat everybody well. That's a professional company. Actually, I'm sure some people would argue that they're not treated that well, but in general, the UFC is an amazing company.
No, but
I'm
just saying, with your background and like what your uncle did and your dad.
But the UFC is not one person. Do you understand?
Not anymore. Yeah.
The UFC is many people. So many people have no idea who I am, and then many who've been around for 15, 20 years know where it started. They're more connected to the beginning of this whole party. So maybe they know a little bit more.
A weird thing.
You know how it is. Like people today, there's young kids today that are watching the UFC. They have no idea who Royce Gracie is.
Yep.
All they know is, Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor, whoever is fighting today. So they got jumped on board. They're now 14 years old. They're 17 years old. They're 17 years old. They love the UFC. But when they were born, before they were born, Royce was fighting in the UFC. They weren't even born.
Yep.
So they have no idea where it's come from. But, little by little, there will be people that are telling the story, and they'll include my father and my uncle and my grandfather, and even so, for what he did in Brazil. And, it will become the thing to educate people on where it came from, because we're so far from the beginning. It's been so long.
Yeah. It's 20, 25 years.
Well, the truth is that's not even that long, but it is a long time for a 21-year-old. It's a lifetime.
It's forever ago. Yeah. Well,
correct.
I talk to people. Some of the NFL football players I've talked to are 24, 25 on the show, and they grew up with smartphones.
Correct. I had to have my first phone until I was 18 years old.
Yeah. And you're trying to explain to them, you had a map when you wanted to go
Thomas
somewhere.
Guide.
Yeah, that's right. And I remember teaching my daughters how to unfold the map and find the section G3.
Yes.
Here are the coordinates of the map. They're like, what?
Me too. And now I show up at any part of the world, and I say, especially when in the country, right? I'm anywhere in the country, and I pull up my phone, and I push it, and I say, Siri, find me directions to the Natural Science Museum.
Yeah.
There's Natural Science Museum, 17 miles away. Turn left now. And my kids pushing Siri, asking Siri for things. Siri, what's the weather right now when we're traveling?
Like you said, it's hard to, I guess it's like our parents telling us what life was like before there was a TV.
Yes. It's funny, we don't have a TV at home. We just got a TV like 4 months ago, but my kids never watched TV until now. So, and now they watch it only on Saturdays or Sundays, one day a week, a little 30-minute hour show. So the funny part is I can actually imagine life with no TV in the last 5 years, 6 years. It's very easy for me to imagine it. And speaking of traveling and TV, my kids love airplanes because they get to watch TV.
Oh, that's crazy.
They don't watch TV at home, but when we go on an airplane, they can watch 3 hours. We'll let them watch up to 2, 3, 4 hours sometimes. A long flight, you're flying home from Dubai.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like a 17-hour flight. I'll let them watch 4 movies. They love it. They're like, we're on an airplane. We're gonna watch something. It blows their mind. They're over here at home for 3 weeks straight. They get to watch nothing. We go on an airplane. They're watching,
Well, it also puts them in a good mood for the travel.
They love it. Of course, we pace it very well to where they, first they color and we read and we tell stories and we play with little characters. And then 4 hours in, 7 hours into our 12-hour flight to England, then we pull out a couple of hours of TV. Everything is timing.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu and travel.
Everything. And food, and diet and sleep. Jet lag.
Everything, bro.
Yeah. Wait, are you planning on homeschooling?
Yes.
Okay. So I was going to ask you, how are you going to balance? I mean, you literally, I'm sure, and Henner's got a family now too, so.
I want to homeschool, 100%.
Okay.
I want to homeschool. I want to buy a Sprinter van.
Mm-hmm.
I want to buy a Sprinter van, and I want to drive the country for a year.
Who's doing that? Who was it?
So many people are doing it. Everyone's doing it.
There was a surfer. Oh, God dang. I can't remember his name. A real famous surfer. He basically just traded everything. Rob Machado. And he's
I know him. I don't know in person, but I've heard of him for many years, yes. There you go. I'm going to buy a van and take off.
That's what he does.
I'm going to buy a van. A couple more years. Let me do a couple more years of airplanes. And then, in maybe 3 or 4 years, get this van and just hit the road. And then just travel on the south of the country when it's colder. And then as spring hits around, make a 4
north.
turn, come up top north, right on the border of Canada. You know what I mean? Stop by.
You're gonna have to fight. You're gonna have to fight Henner, though.
Fight Henner for what?
He's gonna want to travel too. Who's gonna be teaching?
We have so many instructors, and he loves Torrance so much. He's a Torrance. Yeah. He loves Torrance.
You're the traveler, huh?
You guys, we don't even know. I could die in 6 months.
I hear you, brother.
I could die tomorrow. My point is, because of that, when somebody invites me to Thailand for work, even though the money's weak or South Africa doesn't have good money, it's not. The dollar is very strong and their currency.
And it's expensive to travel there.
I'm still like, you know what? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna make almost no money, and I'm gonna go because I could die in a month, and I want to experience South Africa. I want to experience the Philippines. I want to experience it. So I want to get a Sprinter van. I'm not going to do that tomorrow because I can die tomorrow. But my point is that who knows how many years I have left? It could be 7 years, 3 years, 12 years. I want my kids to experience the country in a van. Mom and dad driving the country for a year.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, fortunately and unfortunately, I mean, you've met tens of thousands of people through the academy, and people have passed away. And I'm getting older. I'm in my 51. I turn 52 in a couple of weeks, and my friends that I went to school with are dying. Cancer and accidents, and it makes you think. My uncle passed away at 58.
There you go. So you agree.
Yeah,
live
100%.
it fully. Live it fully. And then when I die in 4 years or 9 years, people don't say, oh my gosh, it's so tragic. He died. No, they say, you know what?
He lived the life.
He died. We're going to miss him. But he had fun.
He lived the life.
He did what he wanted to do. He was able to make money. He was able to influence people, impact people's lives, influence people in a very positive way. He showed his kids the world. He was able to make money and be a family simultaneously. Oh my gosh!
It's
he
a
was able
win-win-win.
to spread his family. Yeah. So when I die, don't be so sad because I'm doing it right now.
Yeah.
How many people grow old and they're like, yeah, I really want to go to Italy. I really want to go to Italy, which the Amalfi Coast is amazing. I want to go to Italy. And then what happens? Before you know it, they're 67 years old, and then Italy's gone. Oh, I can't go no more. Who knows? They lost the fire. They lost the motivation. You understand?
Yeah,
I have a friend of mine right now, a good friend of mine, says, it's almost like we owe it to ourselves once we think it to do it. Find a way.
But for me, the podcast has been the same thing where people of my age are like, why are you doing that? I mean, you're making good money. You live at the beach. Why are you putting all this extra work on you?
Well, hold on. How much work is it? It's a 30 or 40-minute conversation.
It's more. That's like saying it's easy to do jiu-jitsu. It's or you watch a UFC fight and you go, oh, that was a 2-minute fight. How easy was that?
No, well, hold on. Is the podcast easy for you to do?
It's easier now. I mean, I knew nothing about podcasting.
Great.
So I'd learned about audio editing.
So the point is that it is easy. You understand? It is good for you. You enjoy it.
Absolutely.
You're figuring out the rhythm for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. It's good.
I had to learn website design. I set up my own website.
And on top of that, you're talking to people, and who knows? Maybe I just told you that you should go to Korea.
I know.
Do you understand? Now you're going to go to Korea. You're going to go to the Amalfi Coast in Italy. Do you understand? You're going to go to Germany. You can ask me. You can even call me in a month and say, what? Look here, I have 3 places. And when I go here, and I can share my experiences, and now here you go. So because you like traveling, and if you like traveling, obviously talking about traveling is a good thing for you. It's a good idea.
Yeah. And for me, it was just the opposite because I didn't travel. When I was growing up, I didn't travel at all.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
And so I always wanted to see different things and experience as much as I could when I got older.
That's so great. I feel like my kid, my 2-year-old, before she was 2, she hit like 30 round trip flights. And then I feel like right now she's 6 years old. I would say she's probably done 70 round trip flights. She's probably been to 12 countries.
She'll be 10 and be a platinum member, platinum flying.
Yeah, it's crazy. She's been to Hawaii like 5 times. Like, why even to Hawaii 5 times? You're 6 years old. It's because Hawaii. There's work in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And then you stay for 3 extra days, and they love Hawaii, and they love Costa Rica, and they drink coconuts in Costa Rica. You know what I mean? And they see huge iguanas all over Costa Rica and monkeys. And they always.
How much of it? I mean, obviously, most people don't travel the amount that you travel, and obviously from the young age. I mean, I think a lot of it. I mean, your grandfather. I remember Helio would come up, especially near the end. He'd come up once every 2 years.
Yes.
I mean,
my grandfather was not a traveler,
but he still traveled.
Well, he traveled because he had to come see his sons.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to go anywhere. I asked him one time. I said, "Grandpa, where do you?" When I was in Brazil with him, I said, "Where do you want to go? What part of the world? Do you want to go to Egypt? You know what I mean? You want to go see some waterfalls? What do you want to do? Anywhere in the world?" And he's like, "Nowhere. I don't want to go anywhere." Which the funny part is that that's so beautiful in so many ways. There's nowhere to go. He said, all I want to do is be around my sons and my grandsons. Yeah. So I can respect that. I can respect, I don't want to go anywhere. I want to hang out with my kids and I'll hang out with my friends and my wife and my family. That's it. I don't want to go anywhere. But then
he was also in his 90s when he said that too, probably, or late 80s.
Yeah, you're right. He was in his late 80s, 90s. So the thing is that I like that. I don't need to go anywhere. I want to be right here with these people. The people that you're with, that's more important, I believe, than where you are. I can live anywhere in the world if I have people that I care about and I trust and that love me and support me. Do you understand? So now, once you have that, then you go enjoy the world with the people that you love and trust and care about. You know what I mean? So I have now a family that I am very grateful for. So let me now go experience things with them because my life allows that. And it's, like you said, it's a win-win. The martial arts call me. So
yeah, I mean, that's living a great life, my friend.
Yes, I'm very grateful.
Yeah. What's not to like? When you get done, are there any goals for having an academy in every continent or every country, or?
Well, we're already building. They're certified training centers, right? They're not actual. Yeah. We don't own the schools. They're private people. They own the schools, and so my goal is, if I don't care about every continent, I care about the continents that want to have jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? Especially tied to us. If you want to have it, I want to have it. So I'm not too
Well, there are people. It's like, I guess I look at it and go, a traditional business person says, I need to step out and conquer. And no, there's nothing. I want 200 affiliates. I want 250 affiliates.
No, the point is there's never enough. Okay, we got 200. Now I want 250. Now I want 300. Just I'm not playing that game. Right. I want the ones that I have right now. If you want me to come be at your school and just hang out and speak to the school, we can do that. If you don't want that, then no problem. We won't do it. It's like, how it is. You have 300, 400, 500. Let's say it's all about the numbers. Then you lose the quality. So I want the ones that want to put in the work, the ones that understand what we're about.
Totally agree. That's even like a lot. Some of the karate chains that you see, they're just about opening up more gyms.
Yeah, no, we want to open more where it makes sense.
Yeah. Well, like you said, as long as they want you there and they're going to work with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it makes sense. They work with us, we work with them. It's a right fit.
Yeah. And you've had a lot of right fits. You have some great affiliates.
Very good.
What's the best way for my listeners and fans to follow you and stay in touch or see what you got going on?
Twitter. You're on Twitter.
Yeah.
I love Twitter. Very short, very fast.
Yeah, it has to be, yeah.
Instagram. Facebook I do a little bit, not that much. Twitter and Instagram I love a lot. And then the important one is if you want to learn about jiu-jitsu, it's gracieuniversity.com. Okay. And that's how people from all around the world are learning jiu-jitsu from the comfort of their home. Or they're learning at home, or they're watching in their schools. So we have like a very extensive curriculum, but it's very easy to follow. It's how do I explain it? It is a linear curriculum, so anybody can start. You know nothing about jiu-jitsu, we teach you A, B, C. It's very easy to follow, very simple. It's very successful. We've had amazing feedback, but this website it's the place to go if you can't find jiu-jitsu and you're looking for it. gracieuniversity.com.
And I can vouch that my cousin, who I just saw this past weekend, he plays in a Scottish bagpipe band, and they're in Costa Mesa, and he was part of your garage way back in it was 10 plus years ago, 15 years ago.
Oh, that's so cool. And then once you go on, go ahead.
Oh no, he still talks about it, and they still have mats and they still train.
I love it. That's so great. And once you go online, you can also find we have like the schools that are around the country. They're all listed there on a map. So who knows? Someone listener might drop into a school and try their first class and say, you know what? Wow, the martial arts is for me. You better yet, jiu-jitsu is for me. Okay,
can I ask you a jiu-jitsu question?
Yep, you can ask a jiu-jitsu question.
A non-traveling jiu-jitsu question. When there are jiu-jitsu tournaments, and even like Abu Dhabi, most martial arts, other than maybe boxing, are self-defense orientated martial arts. And especially jiu-jitsu. It's a self-defense art, right?
It's self-defense, no doubt.
Yeah. So when you do a tournament and you reward people for taking people down, which is like the exact opposite of what the principle of jiu-jitsu is. How does that work? I mean, because I've heard a lot about jiu-jitsu being a Olympic sport.
Hold on, taking someone down might be self-defense, though. Do you
Might
understand?
be.
So is controlling someone. So is arm locking someone. So is escaping from underneath somebody in a hurry. All these parts are self-defense. Some are more sustainable than others. Some are more efficient than others. But every aspect of a competition, now, some of them are higher risk. You know what I mean? High risk, high reward. So the higher the risk, the more inefficient, the less self-defense. But I do agree that anytime you bring a sport in, you bring competition, you violate some self-defense principles. But sometimes people love competition. It's an American thing. It's a worldly thing to compete. So I'm not against it. We just don't endorse it.
No, I know. I mean, I'm the same way.
Yeah. So, but don't when you think about self-defense, there's no doubt that competition, puts you a little bit away from it. There are so many elements, though, in a competition, though, that do promote self-defense.
Well, yeah. I mean, once you're in it, then you've got to respond.
Mm-hmm.
But
what's your question, though? You're feeling a little bit like, because you bring this up from what point of view? What's your feeling behind this?
Well, no, my point of view is there are some. I've been to when I was training a lot and I was traveling, I would take my gi with me,
mm-hmm.
and I would go to gyms and various gyms in different states, and some would literally just teach you how to attack somebody.
Correct. So very offensive, very attacking, and so that lack of a little bit of self-defense.
I had very well respected black belts teach, hey, you want to do that in a tournament. So here's what I want you to do.
I understand. Yeah.
So
put it this way, you're right. There are so many schools that don't talk about the different aspects of things that they don't talk about what you were going to encounter in a real fight. They don't discuss those things, and that's unfortunate. And our job is to continue to highlight the importance of preparing for a real street fight. And sometimes the instructors, it's not even their fault. They themselves were just never taught how to actually prepare for an unskilled person in the street fight. So they don't know, but we just patient and we understand that they're doing the best that they can. And with that attitude, of trying to understand everybody, you can only win,
Yeah.
Full understanding. So be patient with them. When you go somewhere and they have no concept of how to teach self-defense, and they're teaching attack, and it's unrealistic for somebody who's 50 years old to behave the way that they're suggesting, just look at them and smile and say, oh, you yourself are not exposed to the truth, to the core of what jiu-jitsu is, and that's okay. I'm going to take what I can from you, and then, just get a good sweat in. But then you go back home and you find the jiu-jitsu, you reconnect to the self-defense aspect of jiu-jitsu whenever you can.
Exactly.
Boom, problem solved.
I guess as someone, you're literally a Gracie. I mean, so between Helio and Carlson, is it frustrating
to see that?
Yeah.
No, I
can
just
see a sport that
has
your family name on it.
No, I understand it. Understand? Look at the person and say, oh, of course. I'm not surprised. No, that's not frustrating at all.
Okay.
I understand. Maybe a little moment of frustration, and I say, oh, look at me getting frustrated.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're not going to lose sleep over it, but.
No, minor. I just smile. I say, oh, I don't know. One day I'll show them out with them, and I'll teach them something.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
I hear you. Hey, I truly appreciate all the time you gave me tonight, and I will have to. You're bouncing around quite a bit, and so am I. So I'll try and stop by the academy and say hi.
Yo, I'll see you on Twitter.
There you go. I'll see you around, but I appreciate the time,
Thank you, bro. Great talking to you. It's good to, go back and think about all the places that I travel and share these thoughts. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you sharing it with my listeners. So.
Okay.
All right, but I'll talk to you soon.
Have a good one. Peace.